Good morning, children. How are you? I hope you're all fine. Here I'm fine. Very few are not responding. Those who are not responding, please complete the works and send the pics. Please be serious. Children, we are dealing the lesson current electricity. Till now, we have studied about electric current. It is represented by I, and a potential difference. It is represented by V. So in today's class, we are going to continue the lesson using I and V, what you have known. So listen carefully, be attentive, and complete the works and share the pics. Actually, in the lower classes, you have learned the process of electrolysis and electroplating in the conductivity of fluids. I hope you remember that the electric current is allowed to pass through the fluids. The positive ions, which are called as cations, okay, and the negative ions, which are known as anions, move in opposite direction, and the direction of positive charges in an electrolyte is always in the direction of the electric field, while negative charges move in the direction opposite to that of positive charges. And thus, for the conduction of fluid, there exists a motion of both positive as well as negative charges. But whereas in the case of a metallic conductors, we don't find such way. We have we have found already in the lesson what we have completed, that the motion of electrons only we have seen. The positive charges, they are in their fixed positions. Okay, nothing but a lattice. So, and not only that, we have to remember that what we have learned till now about the potential. If a positive charge move from point A to B in a conductor, the electric field does some work to move this charge, that is W by Q for free charges. So then the direction of electric field is from A to B, and we have to remember that A is at higher potential and B is at lower potential. So negative charges always move in the direction opposite to the electric field. So we consider that electrons move from low potential to high potential. So this all theory is one side, and we have to know that why this battery or a cell is showing a constant potential difference till the battery is completely discharged. For this, we have to continue with the next part of our explanation. So if you see here, a battery consists of two electrodes. Okay, children, two metallic plates and a chemical electrolyte. Okay, so the electrolyte between these two plates consists of both positive as well as negative ions. If you consider this blue color dots of a positive, and if an orange color is of negative ions, okay, these electrolyte, it exerts a certain force on these ions, okay, and make them to move in a specified direction. So let us imagine a force as Fc, okay, which is experienced on these respective ions, both positive ions and negative ions. Depending upon the chemical present or the electrolyte present, what happened? Positive charges move to one side and accumulate on one of the electrode, and the negative ions move to the other side and accumulate on another electrode. Nothing but here a metallic plate. If you see here, negative ions as well as the positive ions move opposite side and accumulate on the respective electrodes. If you see here, all the positive electrodes are accumulated here. So we call these electrode as an anode. Okay, when you see these, all the negative ions are accumulated at this side. So we can call these electrode as a cathode. So this accumulation of charges on the respective plates continues till both the plates are sufficiently charged. And one more point you have to remember here, the ions in motion experience another force when sufficient number of charges are accumulated on the plates. So let that force be as Fe. So we are seeing this Fe. Okay. The direction of this force is opposite to the direction of chemical force. Already I told what is chemical force. It is represented by Fc. And the magnitude of these force depends on the amount of charge accumulated on the plates. So when you're seeing in the first picture, we have seen more number of positive charges are accumulated on one side and the more number of negative charges are accumulated on another side as compared to before one. So this accumulation of charges on the plates continues till the electric force Fe becomes equal to the chemical force Fc. At this situation, there will not be any motion in the ions due to the balance of Fe and Fc. You can see in the picture, children. So already it is shown in the picture. So now the new battery that we buy from the shop is at a stage where the ions in the electrolyte are under the influence of balanced forces. So these are balanced forces. If you see here, this is Fc and Fe. So this is the reason what happens. The constant potential difference is maintained between the terminals. Okay, and you have to remember that the amount of charge accumulated on the plates, respective plates here, depends on the nature of the electrolyte used in the battery. This is what you are working off a battery. Children, you have to read the textbook also and then understand the things. Children, here you have to remember from that the conclusion is constant potential difference is maintained between the terminals of a battery. And here we have to go with the next part. What happens when a battery is connected in a circuit? When a conducting wire is connected to the terminals of a battery, a potential difference is created between the ends of a conductor. Okay, this potential difference sets up an electric field throughout the conductor. And you have to remember here the direction of electric field is from the positive terminal to the negative terminal in the conductor. So here you have to remember that the conductor contains a large number of electrons. So the electrons near the positive terminal of a battery are attracted by it and they start moving towards positive terminal. As a result, the amount of positive charges on this plate decreases. Similarly, an electric force Fe becomes weaker than the chemical force Fc. So, and the chemical force pulls negative ions from the positive plate anode and makes them to move towards the negative plate, that is cathode. So the negative terminal pushes one electron into the conductor because of stronger repulsive between negative terminal and negative ion. Okay, these all points you have to remember, children. So on the whole, what is the conclusion for that? The total number of electrons in the conductor remains constant during the current flow. Now we have to discuss about electromotive force. When the ends of a conductor are connected to the terminals of battery, what is happening? The electrons in a conductor, we already know that they are moving with a drift speed from a negative terminal to positive terminal because of the electric force acting on them. At the same time, what is happening? The negative ions of equal amount of charge move from positive terminal to negative terminal against the electric force Fe because of the chemical force acting on them within the battery. Okay, you have to remember already these points I told when I'm explaining the last part in shortcut. So that is from other reference material. This is from your textbook. So some chemical energy is spent to move ions in the battery. Okay, that means amount of work done by the chemical force. Listen carefully, children here. The work done by the chemical force to move a negative charge Q from positive terminal to negative terminal against the electric field Fe, let it be W, and we have to assume that magnitude of chemical force Fc is equal to the magnitude of electric force Fe. Okay, now coming to the electromotive force, what is that? The work done by the chemical force to move a negative charge Q from the positive terminal to the negative terminal against the electric force Fe, let that be W. Already I told that you have to remember where Fc is equal to Fe. The work done on a negative charge by chemical force W is equal to Fc into D. The work done by chemical force to move 1 coulomb of a charge from positive terminal to negative terminal is given by W by Q. We know W is Fc into D, where D is the distance between the terminals, children. So Fc into D by Q. Already we know that Fc is equal to Fe. So already I told what is Fc and what is Fe. So W by Q is equal to Fe into D by Q. So W by Q is the work done by chemical force on a unit negative charge to move it from positive terminal to negative terminal. This is called electromotive force. We write it as in a shortcut EMF. or epsilon is equal to W by Q, or FED by Q. So you can define this EMF as a work done by the chemical force to move unit positive charge from negative terminal to the positive terminal of a battery. So the relation between drift speed of electrons, whereas EMF of battery, nothing but relation between V and I is given by the scientist George Simon Ohm. Now we are going to study about Ohm's law, one of the important activity. To show the ratio of V by I is a constant for a conductor. So what are the materials required here? 6-volt battery eliminator. What is meant by eliminator? Which converts AC to DC. Okay. 0 to 1 ampere ammeter. 0 to 6 volt voltmeter. Copper wires, here conducting wires. 50 cm magnetic coil, which is called as a resistance coil. Rheostat. What is rheostat means? To vary the resistance in the circuit, rheostat is used. Okay, and a switch. So what is the procedure for this is you have to complete the circuit using all the materials required. Using rheostat, we have to change the potential difference between the two ends of a wire from 0 to 4.5 volt. Okay. By using the rheostat, we have to adjust the potential difference for 1 volt between the two ends of the magnetic wire. So if you are adjusting 1 volt potential, you have to measure the electric current in the ammeter. Then you have to tabulate. Tabulate the values V and I. So this is a general circuit diagram, children. This is a voltmeter. Okay. And I told voltmeter is always connected across, parallel across a resistor. So this is your resistor. We'll talk later about this resistor in the later part of our lesson. This is the ammeter. Already I told ammeter is connected in series in the circuit, and this is your battery symbol. Okay, these are the symbols. What the circuit diagram symbols are shown here in the circuit diagram. Okay. So according to the materials, what I told, according to your activity, the materials are mentioned here. Just the textbook picture I am showing here. So this is the magnetic wire. So this is your resistance, okay? And voltmeter is connected across this. And this is your rheostat. Why it is given like this means we can vary the resistance in the circuit. Already I told, okay? And this is your ammeter. This is switch. And this is your battery eliminator. Eliminator already I told AC to DC. Okay. So the way of current flow in a circuit will be from positive terminal in the outer circuit. I told already these points. So those all points you have to remember and apply here, children. Children, this is a picture of a rheostat. If you see, this is a connection is done here, one terminal at one terminal, and the connection, another connection is done at another terminal. And if you see, this is like a slide. This knob slides over this. That means if you use this slide, you can vary the resistance from here to here. Okay. So about resistance, we are going to learn in this class, today's class only. Just listen carefully each and everything, ma. So what happens here? Rheostat acts like unknown variable resistance. So we can vary indirectly. We can vary the current. When I'm going to teach about R, you will understand. I told 1 volt to adjust. So like that, up to 4.5, you have to adjust the potential difference in the voltmeter. Like that, after getting for different V's, you have to calculate different I. And you find V by I ratio. So at least you have to go with 4 values. So on the whole, what you observe here in the last column, V by I is a constant. From that, I can tell that V is proportional to I. So on the whole, I can conclude that the potential difference between the ends of a magnetic wire here, we call it as a conductor, is directly proportional to the current passing through it. To show that V by A is not constant in LED type conductor, materials required 6 volt battery eliminator, ammeter, voltmeter, copper wire, rheostat, switch, and 3 volt LED. And I hope you are remembered, instead of magnetic wire, we are using 3 volt LED here. And you have to remember always, we know in your lower classes that long terminal of LED is attached to the positive terminal of the battery and a short one attached to the negative terminal of a battery. And here with the help of a rheostat, we have to change the potential difference up to 3 volt because the LED voltage is only up to 3 volt. And you have to note down the respective I and respective V in this case also. And on the whole, we have to find V by I ratio. What you observe here is V by I is not constant. Actually, we call it as a non-ohmic conductor. Here, instead of a Magnanin coil, here we have taken a LED. The same circuit arrangement, children. Voltmeter, battery eliminator, ammeter, a key, and a rheostat. So after completing the activities, we have to plot a graph for both the devices. One device what we have used is Magnanin coil, the other one which we have used is LED. So Magnanin coil, we name it as a ohmic device. LED, we name it as a non-ohmic device, children. So that's why it is given ohmic device graph and non-ohmic devices. It can be any other also, but according to your activity, ohmic device Magnanin wire, non-ohmic is your LED. Okay, when you plot a graph, what you observed, already I told that Magnetic coil, we observe that V by I is constant. So that is why you get a graph, a straight line passing through the horizon, which indicates V by I is constant at every place. Okay, when you observe for the LED, what we observed V by I is not constant. So the graph is like this, a curve graph. So at any point, you will not find V by I ratio is not same. So actually what is V by I? V by I is nothing but R. So this R is constant for the ohmic devices. R is not constant for non-ohmic devices. So I hope you have understood this. So on the whole, after completing the activities, we have to conclude like this. The ratio between V by I is constant for some materials at constant temperature. It is given by George Simon Ohm and it is popularly known as Ohm's law. So the definition for the Ohm's law is the potential difference between the ends of a conductor is proportional to the electric current passing through it at a constant temperature. V is proportional to I, where a temperature is constant. You have to remember V by I is constant, children. This constant is called as the resistance of a conductor and it is denoted by capital R. That is V by I is equal to R. Or we can write V is equal to IR. So when you come to the definition of a resistance, here resistance of a conductor is the ratio of potential difference across its ends to the strength of a current flowing through it. The SI unit of resistance we will write as ohm. The symbol also I have mentioned. And we know that unit for potential difference is V volt. We write it as V. And the unit for current is ampere. We write as A. So when 1 ohm is equal to 1 volt by 1 ampere. Now 1 ohm I can write as 1 volt by 1 ampere. Okay. Now when you go to the definition of ohm, the resistance of a conductor is said to be 1 ohm if the current of 1 ampere flows through it when a potential difference of 1 volt is applied across its ends. So what are ohmic materials? Already I have discussed ohmic devices and non-ohmic devices. Here the ohmic device what we have taken is Magnanin coil and a non-ohmic device we have taken as LED. So ohmic materials means materials which obey Ohm's law are called ohmic materials. We find when you plot a graph, a straight line passing through the horizon, okay? And when you go with a non-ohmic material, a material which do not obey Ohm's law are called non-ohmic materials. The example what we have taken is LED. If you plot a graph, what happens there? You will not get a straight line passing through the horizon. You get a curve which indicates for the ohmic material Vi by I is constant, whereas for the non-ohmic materials V by I is not constant. So this is Ohm's law triangle, children. So if you remember the formula well and good and transpose and get the values for numericals, no problem. Or you can remember in this way also. If you want to get V, so if you imagine this is the division and here you have to take I into R. So that's why V is equal to I into R. If you want I, V by R. If you want R, V by I. So you have to remember the formula in shortcut like this. V is equal to I into R. I is equal to V by R. Or R is equal to V by I. So, children, in today's class, we have learnt uh, about battery working, EMF, Ohm's law, activity. So, with that, I have concluded today's class. Have a good day. Please be responsible and complete the assignment, children. Thank you.